Bengals Nation, what's up, Chargers and Bengals fans? The sooner we see Jake Browning, the better. Drew is driving to the airport. Yeah, this was the year for Bengals Cell Thunder. Drew's driving to the airport. He's got some work stuff. We're still pirate radio guys. So once in a while, work gets in the way. He's got to go, I don't know, design a dam or a volcano or something. Geology stuff. So just me tonight. If you're here to see his locks, I guess piss off. Live line, second half line. We'll have to check it here. Should be coming up pretty soon. This has been kind of an ass whooping, huh? We had 3 of those. The Lions perfected it. I mean, they had an easy spot. This might be the most impressive one, though, because the Lions were playing a dead team. It had, just so many issues, including coaching. The Broncos were playing a team that had so many defensive injuries, three deep, all the way up. Defensive line, linebackers, and corners had people missing. Yeah, I'm not sure what the game plan from Jim will be in the second half. Is that a curling trophy? Oh, we'll get to the trophies later. Grey Cup. I didn't bet on the Grey Cup. It's been one of those years where I just didn't pay all that much attention to the CFL. All right, we'll find a second half line. But yeah, so far, just team stats. I haven't even looked at the yardage right now. It is 272 for the Chargers to 126 for the Bengals. The Bengals have had a couple nice drives, but they're 0-2 in the red zone because the Chargers have a really good defense, especially in the red zone. My God, they stiffened up. We'll pin this Bears and Vikings. I'll get to that as soon as we figure out this game. No turnovers. Penalties have been a little weird. So I know that, and I think some people maybe have some Bengals tickets. Some people are mad about the some of the calls, but both of those roughings weren't like, he came and fucked him up and really hurt him. But both of those are going to get called like for every quarterback in the league. You can't watch him run away and then just shove him in the back. You can't like push him down well after the play right in front of the ref. And the same thing goes with Hendrickson. You can't grab him inside the neck, not let go well after the ball's gone, and throw him down. That shit's going to get called. Those are just stupid. Most of the ones we complain about are the bang, bang. How is he going to, how is he supposed to not do that? Because it's football and he's going so fast. Those are dumb. Those are so dumb. And that's not helping their cause because they're getting the shit kicked out of them either way. You can't help them out with penalties. The intentional grounding, I argued with somebody on. So they had to have said that it was Dobbins. Dobbins was there. It went 5 feet over his head. You can make a case that he was throwing it to the running back and he just threw it really poorly, but it should have probably been called. I think if I were a ref, I would call grounding in the spirit of the call. Like, he wasn't really throwing to anybody. He was in the tackle box. That needs to go. Yeah, I'm tempted to look at Cincinnati's second half. They can't pack it in. This isn't a quitting team. This is a team that's not that far out of the playoffs. So Cincy's second half is a slight favorite. This total is 24. Tickled to the under. A little bit extra juice in the under. I think that's probably the direction we'll be headed. I don't know. I think the second half play might come down to who has a prop in the chat, because it's probably a second half under, but all it takes is Cincinnati, capitalizing on a drive or two, and then suddenly, the Chargers aren't in conservative mode anymore, and then the second half ends up 17-14. Brian with the dirty talk. Jeepers cats in the chat, you guys. Chargers might run. They've had some success running. The other thing, too, is I wonder why the Bengals aren't abandoning the run a little more. Like, Burrow's finding guys open. But let me see. Let's see what we got for stats for yards per run. They had like 1 5-yarder, 3.2 yards per rush on 9 attempts for the Chargers. Excuse me, the Bengals. Obviously, the Chargers are having much more luck. A lot of that is because they're not maintaining some sort of, it's not like the edge contain. It's always the middle. They're getting this edge rush that's putting pressure on Herbert, and then it's pushing him up in the pocket where the defensive tackles are nowhere to be found. They're not going to spy him. He's not Lamar, but the linebackers are in some sort of deep zone, and there's this massive cleared out area for him on all 3 runs now, where it's just like he keeps running, and we're waiting for somebody to come into the shot and see like a Bengals uniform, and it's like, just trotting. Yeah, right now Herbert has 58 yards on 4 carries. One of those was a carry for -1. So, yeah, I don't know. I would probably look at see what Burrow's. It's 24-6. I was going to say Burrow's passing attempts over, but man, this feels like we get Browning in the fourth quarter about 40% of the time. All it takes is like 2 bad drives, and let's say the Chargers score 10 more points. If it's 34-6, 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, I don't know. You see Joe Burrow out there so much. But Burrow, credit to Harbaugh, credit to Roman, credit to Herbert. How much did we talk shit about QJ last year? He was terrible. Like, he just fucking useless. A lot of these guys are just, they're not names we're excited about. Gus Edwards and Quentin Johnston. This is probably the look too. Gus attempts. That's probably a look. I love seeing him get the ball. What has been the split so far for those? Yeah, it has ticked down. So Bengals money coming in, under money coming in. That checks out. Gus Bus attempts. I'm trying to look at the split here for them. Why am I on the wrong play every time? I'm on team stats. I want to be on box score. Herbert, 4 carries. Edwards, 5 carries. Dobbins, 5 carries. Why is Hassan Haskins a thing? That's kind of my main concern here. I don't know that should be a thing. We've had that a couple games now where he's getting some stuff. Yes, correct. This is correct, Hef. He is more sex stuff. He is out for the evening, traveling for work. Yeah, if that is truly the prop, I might look at that. Bengals second half. It's probably Bengals second half though too. Let's see. Play-by-play, who started with the ball? Chargers get the ball. Man. So you're talking Bengals plus 16.5, 17.5. Woof. Yeah, you know what the answer is? There's no play here. It has to be just some tickling on some props. So if this is the case, Gus over 10.5 attempts, I think I'm going to play that. I'm going to go find that right now. I don't have a strong take on the side. I think I would lean towards the Bengals in the second half. They're getting guys open. That's the thing. Like Chase, for the most part, what's he had? He's had 5 targets, 4 receptions. He's a pain in the ass to tackle. Higgins looked fine after the back thing. I think he came in and he was pretty much fine. Here we go. I'm going to play this too. Bengals team total over 10.5. Second half is like 13-10 Bengals. That's kind of my feel right now. Like, it just stays under the total. Yeah, I don't know. It's a rough game. It's a rough game, but I have Bengals I have Cincy minus. I have the Chargers -1. It's like I couldn't say the words I wanted to say, like in that movie with Jim Carrey and the guy from The Office. I can't think of anything right now. My brain is fried from this weekend somehow. Dobbins receiving yards over 0.5 if the Bengals score first. I like that. Both teams to score 20. Both teams to score 20. No, -110. It's interesting for a live one. I like that. So, all right, I'll put it on the board here. I have to go find this right now, but Gus, 11 plus carries total. And a little Bengals team total over 10.5. I'll play those. Not pumped about this. These are small bets. This isn't like the liar. Was it liar? Is it so? I'm mixing up liar and Bruce Almighty in my head too, because he does it on that too. Like liar, you can't say the pen is blue or whatever. But my little nipples went to France. That's the part I'm thinking of. Bengals team total is 13. Oh, well, that makes a bit of difference. If I can find a 12.5, I'll play it. We'll see what we got here. I don't have Drew to vamp while I'm doing this. I don't even know why I'm wearing headphones. I'm not listening to anybody. I don't have volume coming in from somebody else. All right, let's see what I got here. Bengals are at 6 points. Oh, that's 14.5. Yeah. That team total's out of control. I don't think I can play that. We're changing the banner. Banner's getting changed. Gus, it's just Gus so far, unless you guys have good props. Is it time for some Purple Eagles talk? Oh, man. I'm probably going to get into some college basketball, but right around Christmas time, take a little break. Although Christmas is a fucking Wednesday. This is probably a look. Bengals got to get desperate here. Got to pull out the good plays. Got to make at least a push here in the third quarter. And then some garbage time stuff from is it Jake Browning still? Jake Browning was fun. He was fun when they put him in last time. Okay, I'll go look. I'll pull up Bet Online right now too. If he had lost between the moon and New York City. What is the live total then? 52? All right, I'm looking at, I'm on Profit. You know what? I'm on ProfitX. Brought to you by ProfitX. There's a bunch of liquidity if you want the total here, 52.5. See, they do it like that with it's a live total, so you got to do math. So we're at 30. So that means it's 22.5 minus 126 to the over, plus 10. If you like under 22.5, you can get a plus number there, and there's $800 worth of liquidity. So there's some liquidity in the pool. Where's Drew? He's on an airplane. Couldn't make it. So I know they are scoring at will, but I just feel like they're not gonna. There's a sizable chance that we end up with the blowout look where they're just running the ball, and they'd be more than happy to just run the ball over and over and over. Like that does. I don't know, probably like 40%. I'd say like a 40% shot. We get let's say we get a long field goal drive here, and then the Bengals go like 6 and out, punt from the 50. This game is ending up very, very much under the game. What does Drew do for a living? He is a geologist. He works on helping, like he's an engineer, but a geologist engineer, like earthquake stuff. So out on the West Coast, got to have all this stuff figured out when you build a building, when you build a dam. He works at a place that does a lot of that stuff. So he is heading up to Northern California. I did have a question here I wanted to get to. Oh, man, I unstarred it like a dick. Kind of gross. My unbiased opinion on the Bears and Vikings. We talked about that a little today. It was a nice job by the Bears, but I want to put some of that on the Packers as well. Packers very lucky to eke out a win there. Caleb looked better. I think there was some malaise and bad vibes in that locker room, and people were just, people weren't digging what Waldron was laying down. You seen the quotes after he got fired. I didn't think you were going to get some crazy bump like you get when you get the interim coach, but I guess there is something to getting a new play caller in place and feeling like there's some, a sense of renewal, a sense of redemption. I don't think the Bears are going to win very many more games. They have a tough schedule. This is kind of it. Like, if you wanted to make something of this season, you kind of needed to sneak this one out. It's crazy that we've had 2 games end like this now. With this, I'm going to watch this play. Oh my God, the Chargers are just throwing deep. Fuck it, they said. Good defense, really good defense by there. Vikings opinion, man. Darnold didn't look so bad today, and I do have some respect for that defense. I know they didn't have L'Jarius Sneed out there, and he's probably one of their best defenders, at least in the secondary. But Darnold's regressed a little, obviously. We've seen some hiccups from the defense, and I think that's just kind of what you get when you have Flores. And I know Flores isn't the same as he was a long time ago when he was, just really blitz happy, and that was, I mean, he still is relative to the rest of the league, obviously, but that's kind of what you get still. He is going to bring the heat on plays like that. And when you bring that kind of blitz, sometimes people are going to get behind your defense, and you're going to get a 100-yard touchdown to Westbrook Ikini. That was tough stuff to watch. Like, we were in the Discord asking if we were going to get a safety. And at that point, I'm like, oh no, what happened? Like, that's not what you need happening. There were so many long broken play touchdowns today. I mean, how many just in the Rams game where like the receivers just behind everyone? And I mean, that one Cup jogged it in for the last like 20 yards. That's something. Yeah. Interesting that they're 8-2, because the Vikings don't feel like they're a super good team. They feel like they're it's funny. They feel like about where they should be. They should be in the 5 or 6 seed as a wild card. It's a good team, not a great team. The fact that the Lions exist kind of hammers that into place, because they likely can't win the division unless something were to happen. They'd have to beat the Lions, and then they'd need some help, because they do not control their own destiny at this point. Even if they beat the Lions, they would have the 1-1, and God, they'd need some help on tiebreakers, I suppose, at that point. I wonder how that would work. I think the next one would be conference record. Who was the other Vikings lost to? The Rams? So both Minnesota losses were to NFC teams. That's bad. I don't have any wine recommendations. My wife bought like a $15 Malbec from the shitty store down the street. Pretty decent. Not gonna lie, I liked it. I am getting a Total Wine in town. I'm pretty pumped for that. I like a big warehouse like that. Does Bryce Young have a future as a starter? Kind of got to throw a flag there, don't you? I guess he fell down. Bryce Young looked a little better, didn't he? He looked a little better after said, I just needed a timeout. That's another thing. Maybe it is the change of vibes. It's like change of scenery, but change of vibes. Like that rest, that reset you get from not having to game plan and prep to be the starter, to have everything on your shoulders, having a few weeks off like that. I think he could be like a shitty, like a shitty bottom of the league starter, because people are going to give him more chances because he's a number 1 pick. But most likely his second contract is as a backup. Kind of feels like the Justin Fields situation, where he goes somewhere with his second contract after they don't pick up the option. He goes somewhere else, and he's in a competition with a veteran. Who knows what that looks like? We're like 3 years from that, but something like that does seem pretty likely, because even him looking better now still isn't on par with what you need to win games. Patrick thinks he's going to the CFL. What do you think is lower? Maybe a straw poll here. What is a worse level of competition? CFL or whatever the XFL and all the other leagues combined to call UFL? Which one's worse as far as like if you went to one? Oh, common opponent tiebreaker, says the Hef. 2-0 against the NFC West. Minnesota's 1-1. CFL over the UFL? I don't know. The CFL, it feels that way to me. But also they have stupid fucking rules. I don't know. One thing, can you imagine Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Puka Nakua, any of these guys? Can you imagine if these guys were allowed to start 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage and hit the line of scrimmage at a sprint when the ball is snapped? What these corners would, like, you'd have to play 10 yards off the line of scrimmage every corner, every time. You'd have no choice. I don't know. Press would be done. You're not hitting those guys at that speed. I don't know what you're going to try to do at that point. If they should have like one game where they let them do CFL rules like that, it would be obscene. Yeah, just your safety would be playing 40 yards deep. I don't know what I'd do. I'm not a defensive coordinator. Not all of us, not everyone from Minnesota coordinated a defense. I am going to go watch some high school football next Sunday, though. Saturday, Stewartville Tigers in the championship again. Looking for that second straight Minnesota AAA championship. Go Tigers. I think I'm about worn out. No. I hope the Chargers win because I bet them -1. I was a little worried. It's funny how you get the stupidest thoughts in your head. It's like, when the other team scores first and you get sad and you forget that there's 58 minutes of football left. But it's when it was 7-6, I'm sitting on Chargers -1 instead of laying. I don't love to lay extra juice. Instead of laying extra juice with just laying the straight money line, I'll play the -1. I haven't sold it out more. I'm like, God, I'm going to push on this. It's going to end up like 21-20, isn't it? Which, not how it's looking right now. There is better weather in the XFL, although I don't think it's called that anymore. I think, is it just UFL now? So it was the USFL, the second version, the XFL. Oh, fantasy question? I don't know if I know this. It depends on the rules. Is it tight end premium? Is it PPR? Half PPR? What's your record? What are we doing? When's the trade deadline? So many things, Jeffrey. Should I trade Otten for Jennings? I got Kittle. Jennings, what was his usage today? That's another game I want to sit and rewatch on the fast track tomorrow morning. I didn't have a good grip on how exactly the Niners screwed that all up. Jennings, 11 targets, 10 receptions, 91 yards. Yeah, I guess. You already got a tight end. I don't know how fantasy nerds feel about the overlap of starting two guys. For a while in one of my leagues, I started Kelsey and who's the wide receiver that isn't playing anymore because he's hurt and he's probably getting suspended next year. Rashee Rice, and it was always just like I'd get the same amount of points from him every week combined. And that's when Kelsey sucked too. Half, December 1st. Oh, first. You're in first place. Get weird with it. Yeah, Rashee Rice. He's coming back someday. Who's number 4? I'm looking at the wrong box score. Is that my guy? 4 is Gus Edwards. Oh, look at that. The half. We got a Gus Edwards carry. Perfect. So, all right, I'm going to go home. My wife got a lemon pie from the store. I'm going to go have a slice of that. Watch the rest of this shitty game. We'll reconvene tomorrow. Hopefully you found some nice halftime prop bets. God, they are still just slinging it. Why aren't they just running the ball? This second half is going to take forever. I'm going to be tired. I have a lot to do on Monday. There's a lot going on. And also, too, for anyone who does listen to the podcast, we recorded that tonight because Drew is like working all day tomorrow. We're not going to be able to do a Monday night one. So we did it early, did the review one. That shit is up already. So if you want to go listen to a podcast tonight or on your way to work tomorrow, on your dog walk, whatever it is you do, go enjoy that. I'm going to hit. Oh, this is why I need, because I can't hear the music now. Such is life. We'll see how this third down goes. Always someone just wide open. Both teams for some reason. Just nuts. All right. Yes, there will be a halftime tomorrow. Drew is possibly there. Maybe I'll find someone to join me. Maybe we do the Jersey game. We'll just bring some rando in and make him try to guess the first names of people. See you guys. Enjoy your night. Have a good one.